Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Virginia Foxx calls out Jim McGovern for saying the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard from a congressman behind the well. He deserves the pushback. Let's dive in.
Imagine my shock when I found out that you guys went home. 8 weeks of taxpayer-funded paid vacation for Republicans. And why did Republicans do it? They did it because Democrats had the audacity to ask them to try to lower people's health care costs. And while they sat on their couch for 8 weeks, we were working. We listened to people who told us their health insurance premiums are doubling and tripling. We heard from people who don't understand why you guys moved at the speed of light to give tax breaks to billionaires, but you won't lift a damn finger to extend the tax credits that help ensure people's health insurance premiums don't skyrocket. This CR, this dirty CR, which does nothing to solve the healthcare crisis, is one of the most immoral, unethical, evil things that I have ever seen happen in all my time in Congress. What the hell is wrong with them? While regular people are struggling to pay bills, Donald Trump's net worth has gone up by $3 billion since he became president. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this rule and no on the underlying legislation, and I reserve my time.
Gentleman's time is reserved. Gentlelady from Minnesota.
I would like to yield 4 minutes to the gentlewoman from North Carolina, the esteemed chairwoman of the House on Rules.
Gentlelady from North Carolina, Ms. Foxx, is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentlewoman for yielding. Mr. Speaker, psychologists have a word for the things the Democrats accuse us of: projection. Mr. Speaker, I sure hope you did not watch all 7 hours of the Democrat group therapy session last night in the Rules Committee. But if you did, you saw what a clown show it was. It was a crisp 40 degrees outside when we adjourned at around 1:30 a.m. this morning, but with the amount of hot air being spewed by Democrats in the committee room for 7 straight hours, you would have thought we were in the dead of summer. Mr. Speaker, at this point, I don't think Democrats really agree on anything. Last night and into the early hours of this morning, they showed everyone that they couldn't even agree on what they're angry about. They went off on so many tangents that it would have been a miracle if they arrived at a single coherent thought at any point during our meeting. The American people will see the exact same thing play out from them during this debate and during general debate on the floor later today. Apparently, the only thing Democrats can agree on is that the government needs to stay shut down, and that the American people need to suffer even more than they have already made them suffer. We heard from Democrats repeatedly about the millions of people they believe are going to be affected when their own temporary COVID credits sunset at the end of this year. Their own temporary COVID credits. Did we hear anything about the millions of Americans who got walloped by Democrats when they shut the government down? Did we hear an apology from Democrats to the American people for deliberately misleading them over 40 days? Did we hear an admission that the only reason they shut down the government is to cover up for a catastrophic policy failure that they concocted and set an end date on? No, we didn't hear one of those things. Not one. Mr. Speaker, I'm not surprised. This is the kind of behavior that Americans have come to expect from Democrats. Has anyone ever noticed how Democrats have developed such a visceral reaction when confronted about their abdication of responsibility? They shut the government down, and the moment you call attention to their own actions, all they do is obfuscate and start shrieking about unrelated things. Scientists should study this at length and try to come up with a cure. It's a serious affliction, as was evidenced numerous times over in our Rules Committee meeting.
Never get someone like Virginia Foxx mad at you. Okay, Southern women like that are built way different than the rest of the country. These are women that will rip everything apart and then rebuild it themselves because someone else really screwed up. That's what happened here, by the way. Jim McGovern, of all Democrats, is one of the last ones to talk about how immoral this continuing resolution, this CR, is. This was a man who was in Congress when I was in diapers. This man oversaw his chamber on 2 different occasions. All right, his opposing chamber, he saw the Senate refuse to convict and impeach Bill Clinton for clear perjury. One of the greatest sins our Senate has ever committed, by the way. They've had the opportunity to say, hey, we stand up for truth and justice, and they refused. That was one of my earliest lessons in politics, by the way. I was just old enough to see some of that and realize even then, when I was like 5 years old, that something was wrong. Jim McGovern sat on his hands and said nothing. Hey, y'all, what if I told you that most collagen products aren't just a waste of money? They could be loaded with toxins that lead to skin issues, heart problems, and even cognitive decline. Sounds scary, but it's true. See, collagen is the most abundant protein found in the body, and our natural supply runs lower as we age. That's why so many people are turning to collagen to help with joint pain, bone health, and even look years younger. But here's the catch. You have to know what you're looking for, or you might be doing your body more harm than good. So before you buy another tub off of Amazon or from your local store, go check out the top 5 collagen warnings that every American needs to see, and take advantage of this special offer. It's a real quick read that can help save your health and your wallet. Right now, get a special bundled deal at a fraction of retail costs plus free shipping. This offer is only available at getnativepath.com/brawl. That's GETNATIVEPATH.com/brawl. Then Obamacare came around in 2010 and he got strong-armed into this. So no. I am not listening to your ridiculous moralization and then your projection against us. Because Virginia Foxx, by the way, talked about this problem. The projection of the entire Democrat Party is absolutely asinine. So why do they think they can get away with this? It's their party. Jim McGovern, he's in Congress. He's not in the Senate. Virginia Foxx, she's in Congress, not the Senate. The Senate had this problem with the continuing resolution. They needed a filibuster-proof 60 votes in order to get this continuing resolution passed, and it took Democrats crossing the aisle to vote for it. Jim McGovern, instead of doing the right thing and calling on his colleagues to say, hey, we might need to figure some things out. And instead of doing that, he gets up in front of the well, in front of Congress, takes the well, and if you don't know what the well is, that's essentially the where you're allowed to speak according to congressional rules. You make a point of order. You don't have to. You can be recognized to speak. The chair will recognize you. Get up to the well. You start speaking. You can allow other people to have questions, and you can answer them. But you have to be at the well in order to properly speak, or else a sergeant at arms will remove you. And it's really fun when they do, by the way. It's rare, but it's fun. And Jim McGovern took to this well and decided to spew nonsense. So the question is, why? Why is he allowed to spew so much nonsense? Well, it's not about allowing. You can say the most ridiculous crap in front of the well as long as you're adhering to certain rules. So the next question down from that is, okay, you're allowed to say that. Why do you think you can get away with saying that? That's the next question from why are you saying, now why do you think you can get away with it? He can get away with it because it's red meat to the Democrat Party and their financial backers and their hardline voters. That's it. That's the reason. So you now have to go a question down from that. Okay, why does his hardline voters, why do the primary voters, why do Democrat hardliners think like this? Well, essentially, there is an entire media apparatus that tells them, yes, you can believe in nonsense that doesn't actually affect you, but it'll hurt me. It'll hurt the rest of the American people, but it won't affect you because you have good jobs that provide you with healthcare opportunities. Therefore, you don't need to worry about these Obamacare subsidies. And as a matter of fact, it's a better idea for you to keep on advocating for them, despite the fact that the ACA, the Affordable Health Care Act, Obamacare, did absolutely jack squat to help out the average American person, and instead it provided an extra layer of bureaucratic apparatus, or apparati, in order to make it harder for you to get good healthcare coverage if you dare to go outside of the typical corporate structure. This is the ultimate shift in the Democrat Party, going from the party of the little guy, where they used to be, for their almost since 1828 until 2008, the Democrat Party used to be for the little guy. It used to be the small-time farmer, then it was the factory worker, then it was the minority, then it was the LGBT community, and now it's the corporatized state? What is happening with our political power structure? What is happening with the way things are going on in politics? Republicans are talking about reforming through regulation, which Republicans used to never talk about. That used to be the last thing Republicans would ever talk about. We are in a free fall of political thought here, and the reason I'm getting so histrionic is because in the grand scheme of American history, we are in hilariously unprecedented times. This is not a joke. This is a massive problem from someone who has studied this nonsense, who has studied American history, which is hilarious, weird, wonderful, and terrible all at the same time. And I'm beginning to realize that we are in an unusual era that has never been historically mapped out. That's the kind of clown world that we are currently in, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And hey, if you want to become Politibrawlers, if you want to keep us as independent as humanly possible, consider becoming members and paying a couple of bucks a month, only if you feel led. If not, that's perfectly fine. I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good one. But seriously, consider keeping us as independent as possible. Allow us to streamline our process, because I might be the flashy center fielder, but we've got a whole team of starting pitchers behind us, making sure that we stay not only independent, but fast, and keeping things as sleek as possible so you can get news you can use. Regardless, y'all have a good one.